Welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for August 31st, 2017. Thank you so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate it each and every time you check in with us. It makes us feel special. And we know you're special too. Not the kind of special that's like a short bus special, although maybe listening to our picks that is. Anyway, got 6 games, I think, maybe 8 games of MLB tonight. I don't know why. I don't remember off the top of my head, and I'm just too busy to go look. But I do know that from overlooking this slate, the one thing that stuck out to me is there really isn't a ton of over the top, oh man, this is the guy that you have to target. We've seen a lot of that over the last few nights with Homer Bailey that worked out so well, and Rafael Montero that worked out so well, and guys like Chris Tillman, Ubaldo Jimenez, Jordan Zimmerman, James Shields. We know the gas cans. Tonight's not necessarily in that vein. I think more or less I'm looking at a lot of different one-off type plays where I think guys can see success. Want to get things started off today. I'm going to go a little bit cheaper for my first 2 plays, turn back around with a guy just liking the matchup that he's in. Let's get things started off with Javier Baez, 68K. Fantasy draft, 3,200 FanDuel, 3,400 DraftKings. One of those situations where I've always tried to fit him in. I've had, like, we all do this. We all feel like there's guys that we have good success with. Like, I can read Nolan Arenado, or I can read, I'm the Jason Smith in basketball. Like, I can read when he's going to have a good game. But it's not always that way. There's been plenty of times where even though I've had great success with Javier Baez, it's not 100%. It's 70%, maybe even 60%. Gets a solid matchup. Sean Newcomb, 345 WOBA, 40% fly ball rate, 15% home run to fly ball ratio. Not a ton of hard contact, but it's still a young pitcher trying to make his way in the big leagues. This Cubs team finally decided that, you know, maybe it's a good idea that we turn the engines on and get moving with things. The season's winding down. We've got a title to defend. I like Baez. I think he's got power upside, can probably do some other things to get you points. So that's my first place. I'm going. Next spot, Hanley Ramirez, 7,200 fantasy draft. 3,100 FanDuel, 3,600 DraftKings. Massively overlooked, massively irritated that he hit a home run last night. If you followed this video, I have these weird things about guys hitting home runs in back-to-back nights. It's just so difficult to do because if a guy hits 30 home runs, you're not working on a pace of even every other game. You're somewhere down 1 every 5th and a half game. Anyway, Ramirez has always been solid against left-handed pitching. CC Sabathia on the mound tonight. Good pitcher, solid pitcher, but nothing that we need to absolutely shy away from. The price is great, especially if you're working at fitting one or both of those high-priced options we mentioned in the pitching video in. I think he's a guy that I'm more than willing to start with tonight. Let's round out with Manny Machado. I'm very impressed. I'm using him as much as I can in this show now that I've finally figured out how to pronounce his name right. I might be pronouncing it wrong still. I don't know. I think I'm doing it right. 10-8 fantasy draft, 4,200 FanDuel, 5,500 DraftKings. Marco Estrada, if you look at his game logs, it's literally a gigantic roller coaster, and I hate roller coasters, and that's why I don't ride the Marco Estrada roller coaster. Sometimes he can look very good, produce very solid outings, and then he's -8 for 2 weeks in a row. So we've seen Machado really come around the second half of the season. It hasn't been a Giancarlo Stanton type second half of the season where he's determined to just hit 60 home runs in the second half by himself. But he's definitely looking better at the plate. I think that this is one of those situations where if we see bad Estrada, that it's likely going to be to the benefit of a guy like Machado. It's going to be tough with, it's always tough to figure out how the ownership is going to go when you have these high-priced pitchers on the mound. I think Machado, because it's a short slate, should still carry pretty high ownership, but he's someone I want to have in my lineups. That'll wrap it up for today. Javier Baez, Hanley Ramirez, Manny Machado. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Check us out at researchfantasy.com. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.